What are you starting with?
Shabbat Shalom, everybody on Facebook and everybody on Zoom. We're so happy to be celebrating and welcoming in Shabbat together. Rabbi Hammerman, along with Cantor Marcos from the Jewish Community Center of Harrison. So happy and thankful and blessed to be bringing in Shabbat with all of you. Rabbi.
Yeah, it's great to see everyone. And I'm going to protect their privacy, but we've gotten a lot of news from people in the shul about some people's bad health. So I would like to share the news. It's not news because it's hopeful news, but there is a family from the synagogue in the hospital on the happy floor, hopefully giving birth to a healthy baby in the next few days, maybe even a few hours or minutes. So wow. Yes, forward to many good things. And I wanted to start our Friday night Kabbalat Shabbat with a prayer. Was that a C? That sounded like a middle C right there.
It was.
Yes, I do. I just guessed. That's the only one I've ever heard of. I'm going to start with a serious prayer, though, because we're going into a holiday. We're going into a special Shabbat. The Shabbat has a special name. It's not just like any Shabbat. And some of us on Facebook or on Zoom were on our Shabbat Parsha class earlier this morning. So they heard me explain a few different reasons why this is called Shabbat Hagadol, the grand Shabbat. And one of the reasons it's called Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat, is because in the time of the Exodus from Egypt, all of the Israelites were allowed to buy lambs for their Passover, what became our Passover dinners. And the Egyptians didn't stop them. And that's described as a great miracle that they were allowed to do that, and the Egyptians didn't stop them. This year, we're hoping for a different kind of miracle, and that's a miracle of salvation, a miracle of health. May God watch over our community, our city, our country, and our world. May God heal the sick, including the good number, the many, unfortunately, who are members of our own synagogue, and protect our medical professionals, including also many members of our own synagogue, serving on the front line. May God give our scientists the wisdom to find a treatment for this horrible disease. In this time of crisis, we wonder how we can celebrate a holiday that approaches Pesach next week. The answer is that now more than ever, we need the holiday. We need to remind ourselves about why we love life and what we love about it. The Passover Seders that we'll experience next Wednesday and Thursday evening, it's a story of redemption and expressing gratitude, even for an incomplete and fleeting redemption. For many years, Jews celebrated redemption in Pesach, even in the face of brutal persecution. That's the message of our favorite song, Dayenu. Each incomplete stage of redemption is enough. We express gratitude for every blessing in our lives, even without complete redemption. So as Pesach comes this year, we're going to work as hard as we can to appreciate what we do have on the holiday. We all know what we don't have this year, but we can celebrate what we do have. And even though that celebration's muted and temporary, it's necessary to remind ourselves of why we love life. Pesach this year isn't about embracing every single custom that your parents passed on to you, that your grandparents passed on to you. Pesach is about emphasizing more than anything else the need to guard our health and the health of those around us. The most important mitzvah of any of the mitzvot are the mitzvot of saving lives. If we can possibly save one more life by adopting a leniency or even forgetting some treasured custom, then that's the greatest mitzvah we can do. So I think right after Shabbat or Sunday morning, the JCC will send out a whole bunch of Pesach resources, some virtual seders, some videos to enjoy, some readings that you can print out and read at your leisure. And I hope that that's how we'll celebrate this year. I can promise you one thing, Cantor, and I know you're 100% with me. We're going to make a big old Pesach next year, aren't we?
Double the size, double the fun.
We're going to do
everything. Double matzah.
We're going to fill the room and the Kiddush room next year.
That's
for
right.
Jason Pesach. We're going to celebrate 2020 and 2021 all together. But before Pesach, before Shabbat Hagadol, let's just go into Shabbat with the beautiful music of Kabbalat Shabbat. I'm going to sit back and relax and enjoy your music, and I hope everyone will as well. We'll end the tefillah around 6:30 with the Mourner's Kaddish.
Let's Let's sing together. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, lekad ma'afanav v'todah. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, Bizmirod narialo, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai.
We ask that the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice with the words of Yismechu Hashamayim. If you have a Siddur, it's here on page 14. If you don't have a Siddur, I'll put a comment on Facebook. So you can download the Siddur even as you follow along. That'll be on Facebook. Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, oh, 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 Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz.
That's so much fun. What do you want to do next? Romamu? Or do you want to do something else out loud?
Sure, do Romu. Ready?
You want
What's that?
go for Romamu.
Rabbi, your audio, I'm not hearing you so well, but I think you said Romamu, so let's do Romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachim l'har kodsho. Let's worship God on the mountaintop. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachim l'har kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavo lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavo lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavo lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
It's particularly nice to see a range of people on our Zoom, and I'll call out three categories right now. Wait, you went mute. Maybe that's just on my computer. Okay, we're good.
That's loud. You gotta get some headphones.
See a range of people on our Zoom, and I'll call out three categories right now. Sorry. Wait, you went mute. We're good. Okay, I see what just happened. We're good now. There are three categories of people I wanted to recognize. Number one, there are a few people who are with us who I know aren't feeling well. So we're glad that you're here. We're so glad that you're here, and we're all with you absolutely in spirit. That's the most important thing we can be doing right now, is trying to lift your spirit so you can lift your body and get out of this hell that I know a lot of people are dealing with. Number two, there are people on the call with multi-generations. So it's nice, or on the Zoom. So it's nice to see multi-generations of families together. And who are able to be together. Not everyone is. I know a lot of people are home alone. And number three, I would never use the expression teach an old dog new tricks. So I'm not going to use that expression. I'm going to say teach a human things that they didn't think they could do. Because 2 or 3 weeks ago, Cantor, we definitely had people in our congregation say, no, I don't need to use that Zoom thing. I don't like the computer. I don't like technology. And I see all your faces now. And it's really wonderful to have everyone together. We did some tech support over the course of these weeks. We have people in the shul who are very eager to help you with your technology. And we invite you to call us and just let us know that you need help. And we'll be there in a split second to get everyone as virtually connected as possible until we can be together in person. So those are 3 groups I wanted to recognize. Mizmor LaDavid, or straight into a fantastic rendition of Lachadodi. What are you in the mood for?
Or we can meet in the middle and compromise at Anam Bechoach, which is in the middle of those 2 prayers.
Perfect. Page 22. If you have a Siddur, we're on page 22.
That's right. Page 22. That's a bad key. Let's do this. Anam Bechoach, Getulat Yemincha, Tatir Tzerura, Kabel Rinat Tamcha, Sageveinu, Tareinu, Anna Bekoach, Ketulat Yemincha, Tatir Tzerura, Kabel Rinat Tamcha, Sageveinu, Tareinu, Nora. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai yai dai 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 yai dai dai.
If you would, let me just read the translation of Ana Bakoach because it's so pretty. If you would, may your mighty right hand undo the knots that tie us up. Accept the prayers of your people, you who are revered. Raise us up and cleanse us. Almighty, if you would, guard us as the apple of your eye, those who seek your unity. Bless them and cleanse them. Have compassion on them. Always act justly toward them. Mighty Holy One, in your abundant goodness, guide your people. Alone exalted, turn to your people who invoke God's holiness. Listen to our pleas, hear our cries, knowing that the hidden depths within us. Praise be the name of the one whose glorious sovereignty is forever and ever. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto.
Likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur charishmiyanu ela meyuchada echadu shemo echad l'shem u'letiferet ve'litila l'echadoni likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nel chagim v'kor haberacham erosh mikeret nesucha v'sov machaseh v'machshavat tchila l'echadoni likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela mikdash melech עם מלוכה קוליצי מתוך אף הרב שבר בימי קבחה ויחמור עלייך אמרה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה הנה רי ואפרקו מלבשי בגדי תפארתך מעל יד ונשי בית הלך מכל רבב נפשי גאה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת מקבלה התעוררי כי לאורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה everybody לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת מקבלה לא תבושי ולא תיכר ממעל תשכחי ומטה מדבר יחסו על ימי ונבנתה ויראתי לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת מקבלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת מקבלה. Page 25. והיהודים שיסה סוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהיך כמסוס חג לקראת קהלה בני שבת ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי בני שי בין ברצי ויצמחה ונגילה לכבודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת בואי ושלום בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם מזימה וגדולה טוב ומונה ים סגולה בואי קלה בואי קלה together לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת מקבלה לך אדוני לקראת קהלה בני שבת
We always talk about welcoming the Shabbat bride, welcoming the peace of Shabbat into our synagogue, into our lives on Friday evenings. And in fact, that's why we stand at the very end of L'Chadodi, and you couldn't see Cantor, but a whole bunch of people on Zoom just got up with us. So that was really sweet. Thank you, those of you who got up, and those of you on Facebook, maybe you got up too. We just can't see you. I got a really nice email not too long ago from a member of our synagogue, relatively young family. I won't reveal her name. They have Hebrew school age kids, but they're not actually in the Hebrew school. They're at a day school nearby. And she wrote, the mom wrote that her husband came home tonight. For over 3 weeks, they've been dealing with. They've been separated because of the virus. He had it, she didn't, so they were living in different houses for these 3 weeks, and they were able to get back together tonight, which is really, really tremendous. And she also wrote a PS. Also, our nanny came back. So things are getting easier, which is good because they've got young kids, and everyone seems healthy. And we welcome her husband back home, and we also look forward to good news from our other family who are in the happy floor of the hospital, hopefully about to give birth to a healthy and happy baby in the coming hours. Let's read the Shabbat Psalm now. It's in our Siddur on page 27. Page 27.
Ke'erez bavanon izgeh shetuni bebeit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yilon v'seiva Sheinim verananim iyo le'ayim yashar Adonai zuri velo avlatamo.
We're going to end with Mourner's Kaddish and then a special prayer for healing. But before Mourner's Kaddish, it's always a custom in our shul to recognize the yartzeit of those who are being observed this Shabbat. And I know there are a number of people on Zoom who are here observing a yartzeit. I'm going to unmute everyone on Zoom so we can all respond to your Kaddish, even if it's going to be a little noisier than the rest of the service. So everyone should be unmuted now. If you're operating a Cuisinart in the background, this may be a good time to stop that.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Good to hear you.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
All right.
You're not the star. You're the main attraction. Shalom.
All right.
Shalom, Barbara.
We're going to give everyone a second to say hi, all right? Cantor?
Yeah, no, they're just learning the internet today, folks, so give them a chance.
I remember so vividly Thanksgiving of 1998. We had my grandfather up to my senior year of college apartment in the city, and we ordered Thanksgiving dinner from Ben's at my apartment, and Grandpa came, and I had a computer, of course, in my college dorm, and I said, Grandpa, do you want to write a note on the computer? So he got in front of my computer, and very haltingly, he typed a message to my uncle Ira in Israel. Dear Ira, this is my first time using a computer. Love, Dad. And he could do it, so can all of us. So let me read the yartzeit list and also mention at this point, you may know the custom of reciting Yizkor on Pesach. There are 4 times that we say Yizkor during the year, Yom Kippur most famously, but also Shemini Atzeret, Shavuot, and at the end of Pesach. So at the very end of Pesach, that would be next Tuesday evening. I don't know what the date, I'll tell you right now. We're going to have a community-wide Yizkor service. That would be Tuesday the 15th, what used to be known as Tax Day, but Tax Day is July 15th this year. We'll have a Yizkor service just before we go into the last days of Pesach. This year, as a congregation, we're observing the yartzeits of Harry Buncher, Ray Epstein, Howard Gary, Saul Kaplowitz, Edna Shapiro, Albert Hollander, Edith Blumenfeld, Minnie Mushlin, Shirley Reese Weinstein, Louis Shack, Herman Spring, Conrad Benson, Lillian Kaplan, Leonard Kramer, Jack Rubin, Claire Tessler, Anna Walsey, Violet Massery, Leonard Sokoloff, Gerson Bernstein, Morris Goldberg, Amy Klein Shapiro, Augusta May, Howard Parnes, Harry Zweibel, Alan Eisen, Marvin Feinblum, Henry Goldman, Nancy Margolis, Ruth Moed, Morris Wine, Christopher Blakely, Israel Gelbstein, and Diane Thur. So let's all listen and respond correctly to the Kaddish now. If you need the page of the Kaddish, it's page 30 in our Siddur. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Amen. Ve'alma tivra kirutei v'amlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon ubchaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Rabba mevorach leolam ulomei omaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitna'aseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ve'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shamaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Cantor Marcos, would you please play that beautiful Oseh Shalom that you like to sing for us?
Of course.
Oseh shalom v'yiroma uyaseh shalom shalom aleinu Oseh shalom v'yiroma uyaseh shalom Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru Amen. Yada da 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 yada da da yada da da yada da da
We're going to conclude with a prayer for healing. O God, we turn to you at this time of peril, seeking God's protection for us, for our families, for all of humanity. We ask that, God, you heal in body and spirit all those in this country and throughout the world stricken by this terrible plague. We ask that you strengthen and protect the nurses and doctors and all others who are placing their own lives at risk to care for the sick. We pray for our leaders and their advisors at all levels of government and for all others who exercise just and rightful authority, asking that you give them insight, judgment, and compassion as they make the many decisions facing our country that need to be made right now and in the future. We pray, too, that you will guide and grant wisdom to all who are tirelessly working to develop new medicines and vaccines to cure and protect against this virus, and ask for their success so that soon it may be defeated and this pandemic comes to a merciful conclusion. And finally, we ask that God sustain and help all who, even though escaping illness, are finding that their lives and lives of their families are in turmoil because of the consequences to our society and our economy of this disease. As we seek God's assistance, support, and mercy, we say Amen and stand now, all of us, for a prayer for healing.
Shebe'era avoteinu mikor habracha Eloheinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishebeirach imotenu b'kor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
One of the consequences, of course, of this pandemic has been that many of our college kids are no longer at college. Many, not all, but many are home. And this Sunday evening, we've got a special gathering for college kids at 6 p.m. And we have a couple of special guests. Our members, Adam and Dr. Aaron Alpert, are going to be speaking on how they raised $120,000 in 36 hours for medical equipment, medical protective equipment for physicians at Aaron's hospital where she works and others. So that's Sunday, 6 p.m. The information's on the Zoom. And looking ahead just a little bit, we all know that Pesach starts on Wednesday evening, and we're asking the whole congregation to come together Wednesday evening briefly so we can lead us all into the Seder with a big event Wednesday night. That'll be at 5 o'clock. If you're busy cooking, you can just put Zoom on in the kitchen, and let's all be together before we need to be apart, unfortunately, for the actual Seders. That's next Wednesday. Shabbat Shalom to one and all. The weather looks good for tomorrow morning. I hope you'll get out and enjoy it. My plan with my kids and my family. Cantor play us out as we conclude this.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hashalem, Malachi Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom to Facebook, to Zoom, to all of you. Wishing you a peaceful, restful Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.